strengthening bonds with regional and international partners, advancing legislation to protect Jamaicans and foreigners alike, and showcasing 50 years of friendly relations with the world. Just some of the major achievements for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in the calendar year 2012. Join us as we recap some of what the Minister and his staff did over the past 12 months.
Let's take it away. We gotta ride, gotta rise, gotta ride, yeah. We gotta ride, gotta rise.
Foreign policy of the government of Jamaica will be bold and visionary, taking cognizance of the seismic shifts that have occurred and continue to take place on the global landscape. We fully intend to return Jamaica to its once premier position of a respected voice on the international stage.
In 2012, that mission saw the ministry taking a stance on some important issues and leading the regional charge for greater support from developed nations. At the 67th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Minister Nicholson signed two important treaties on the country's behalf: the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety to the Convention on Biological Diversity and the amendment to Article 8 of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. The country also made its voice heard at the 7th UK Caribbean Forum. The United Kingdom pledged to make £75 million available to assist with development projects within the region over the next 4 years. During the year, Jamaica actively advocated for special recognition for middle-income countries, MICs, and small island developing states, SIDS. The Foreign Affairs Ministry presented the country's position at the Caribbean Development and Cooperation Committee, CDCC, and at the 34th session of the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean. The ministry also put the issue squarely on the agenda of the Rio Plus 20 summit in Brazil.
It is clear that we need to have far greater achievements in foreign trade in the next 50 years than we have had in the past 50 years. We need to grow our way out of debt if we are to achieve the goals of our development plan, Vision 2030, Jamaica.
In line with that goal, the Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ministry invited the United Nations Center on Trade and Development Secretary General Dr. Supashai Panishapak to the island. The Secretary General spoke at the symposium on Jamaica's involvement in foreign trade and pledged support for the island's Vision 2030 Jamaica development goals. Minister Nicholson said that vision depended on Jamaica heightening its trade position in the global market. The Foreign Trade Ministry helped that agenda by taking steps to revamp Jamaica's foreign policy to include trade in services.
The government of Jamaica remains committed to creating an enabling environment for the expansion of services exports, and we are convinced that our economic future is bound up with that expansion.
Jamaica's 2012 foreign policy also witnessed some tangible moves to strengthen the country's bond with emerging economies such as China, India, South Africa, and Brazil. During the year, Ambassador Alison Stone Roof was appointed Jamaica's first resident ambassador to that South American country. In North America, Professor Stephen Vassiani was appointed as Jamaica's ambassador to the United States, as well as chairman of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, the OAS. Former Minister Luna Sambo was named Jamaica's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, and Lillian Ann Scott was appointed Jamaica's first female High Commissioner to Nigeria. Other appointments included Vilma McNeish to Belgium, Sharon Weber to Venezuela, and Herman Lamont as Jamaica's Consul General to New York. In the hemisphere, the ministry maintained its bond of friendship with Cuba, celebrating 40 years of diplomatic relations with its neighbor. It was part of a policy supporting regional integration and collaboration.
Jamaica will seek to re-energize its approach to the consolidation of the CARICOM single market and economy, in the understanding that CARICOM must be considered an extension of our domestic market. In regional economic cooperation, we must also look further afield to our neighbors in the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and Haiti, and to the wider Latin America.
The diaspora also came in for attention during the year. Early in 2012, the ministry signed on to participate in the Joint Migration and Development Initiative funded by the United Nations and the European Union.
This has ensured that the required attention is directed towards migration and development. And it is essential that priority attention be given to this issue, since origin countries such as Jamaica, for them, migration has to be considered a key factor.
Resulting from that initiative, the ministry, along with the Planning Institute of Jamaica, launched a migration profile, which is being used to inform policy development and planning on the island. The first of its kind in the Caribbean, the migration profile was the first step towards the development of a national policy and plan of action on international migration and development. In September, the ministry carried out a series of consultations on the draft policy and plan of action. The Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ministry was also concerned with the protection of Jamaica's natural resources for current and future generations. The ministry continued work last year on a keys management policy that's scheduled for completion in 2013. It's expected to complement the work done by the National Council on Ocean and Coastal Zone Management on the drafting of diving regulations, all to form part of a comprehensive marine policy. The year 2012 brought into sharp focus the detrimental effects of the lottery scam on Jamaica's international image, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade worked decisively to address the problem. In the year, the ministry partnered with other ministries to amend the Evidence Act to enable overseas victims of the lottery scam to give evidence by live video link. The Anti-Money Laundering Act and the Proceeds of Crimes Act were also used to bolster the ministry's work. Regionally, the ministry is part of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, which ensures that the financial sector subscribes to international norms and is not susceptible to crime. The illicit trade in weapons was also on the ministry's agenda in 2012 when it engaged in negotiations at the UN Conference on the Arms Trade Treaty in July. In addition, Jamaica's presence was felt at the 2012 Review Conference of the UN Programme of Action to prevent, combat and eradicate the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons. Even as the Foreign Affairs Ministry dealt with some critical, serious issues, there was a cause to celebrate in 2012. The ministry facilitated the visit of several high-profile visitors who were eager to help the country celebrate its Golden Jubilee. The ministry also celebrated 50 years since its establishment, with the Ministry of Education declaring May 2 Foreign Affairs Day. On Foreign Affairs Day, ministry officials visited schools, sharing its work and vision with the students.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in 2012 continued its mission to leverage Jamaica's relationships, all in a bid to advance the island's development goals.
I'm on the mission. A mission. Today is the day. Start your ignition. Let's take it away.